Hi guys, I'm Sylvie. Today I'm going to show you my winter makeup routine tutorial and play with a bunch of new makeup that I've been dying to show you guys. As always, bear with me with these late night filming sessions and having to be quiet. Let's get on to the tutorial. But before you do that, subscribe to my channel so I can see you again here. Hit that notification bell so you get updates on when I post. And also, please give this video a thumbs up so the algorithm can do its thing and help get my videos out to more of you. Let's get started. So right now my face is just moisturized and I have a little bit of brow powder on. I have a new brow product that I've been trying, so I'm going to show that on camera here. Also have some lip liner on my lips, just so you guys don't think that this is my natural lip color. So the most recent thing that I picked up was the L'Oreal True Match Nude Foundation. This is in the shade 4-5 Medium. It's a slightly more neutral tone compared to my skin, but I figure that since it's supposed to be like a tinted serum, it'll work just fine. There isn't the biggest shade range for this, but again, since it's sheer, I think it's supposed to just blend in. I held off buying this one for the longest time. L'Oreal and just drugstore makeup prices have been getting so insanely expensive lately, and I just couldn't justify paying the amount that it was for a drugstore makeup product. And this one, depending on the time and the location that you buy it in, was always above $20 Canadian, and I happened to find it on sale for like $15. So I would always say for drugstore brands, it's always worth it to wait for whatever you want to go on sale. So that's the foundation with one layer on. In hindsight, I wish I did only one half of my face. I could show you the comparison, but either way, it did a really good job of giving me a sheer, even coverage. It does literally feel like a serum that's just tinted. Now I've tried a ton of different hyaluronic acids. This one's supposed to have hyaluronic acid in it. I can tell the difference that it makes in the consistency and how it lays on the skin. I actually used to mix hyaluronic acid into my foundations and you would just get the most beautiful seamless finish. Up close, you can still see my skin. You can see my natural texture. It didn't emphasize or reduce my texture. Didn't cover that little blemish that I have there, but it did a pretty good job of adding like a really lovely sheer tint. So if you have fairly even skin tone, you would love this. When I look in the mirror, I don't find this particularly super glowy. I find that this is like really a tinted version of their other True Match foundation. My light is making it look glowier than it actually is. I'm gonna go ahead and build up a second layer of this. So I'm just patting to keep the coverage. Normally I really love to like swipe it, but because it's already so sheer, I don't need to swipe it and shear it out because that's what it's gonna do. So there is a second layer built up. I definitely get the hype about this because it's even up my skin tone without like taking away the realness of my skin. It's somehow given me like a luminous filtered look, and the shade you can see is just slightly a bit more neutral than what my skin tone is, but I think once you've added bronzer and everything, it will just balance it all out. But I really love this texture. I personally feel that this is a unique texture and formulation than anything that I've used. Not like it's the most groundbreaking thing ever, but it is a very distinct finish from anything that I've personally used so far. Next, I'm taking a cream contour shade from this contour palette that I have made for my kit. So I'm going in with this Maybelline Fit Me Stick Foundation shade, and this is in the shade Toffee. I don't know if they still make this, but it's not gonna look that much different than my my hand because my hand is so much darker, but it is a beautiful olivey neutral tone for contouring. On my Patrick Ta contour brush, this to me is my perfect natural contour shade, like an everyday contour, because you see that it doesn't actually give that much of a contrast, but it just gives the most subtle definition to the face, which I love. For blush, I'm going to go in with the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch in the shade Hope. I'm just using this tiny little cute sample that I got. I'm finally going to try this blush under the eye trick that people have been doing. It has gone viral, and you do it before your concealer and you bring it all the way up under your eye, and I feel like that kind of gives it a little bit of color correction, and then you just are supposed to get this seamless blush and concealer blend. So let's see how this goes. Is that enough blush? I don't know, I feel like they use a lot, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit more. Then I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer in the shade Medium Sand. Yeah, Medium Sand. And this one is full coverage, so I'm not going in with a ton. I mean, I still feel like that's a ton, but let's blend it out. I love finding good drugstore makeup products. Like this concealer is so good. I feel like right now in the drugstore, I'm loving a few different concealers, whereas before I never really used to have that many favorites. I always used to feel like drugstore concealers were kind of subpar. Except for that Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. I feel like that one I went through so many empty tubes for years. And I actually am curious to try it again. I haven't tried it in so long. Do any of you guys still use the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer? Because I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so I think this is coming along. I can sort of tap and diffuse out the edges of that blush, however far I want it to go. And I'm going to smooth out everything with a sponge. I see what it did there. I personally love my blush to come higher up on the cheek, so this is not my favorite application. It doesn't feel as precise and controlled to me, but it's still a really easy and beautiful finish. If you do love this shape of blush for your own application, you could totally try this method. Maybe I need to just do it more and find my way of doing it. It did help to take some of the guesswork out if you're a beginner of where the blush and concealer should blend. Before I go in with my powders, I'm going to set everything with the MAC Fix Plus Stay Over. And then I'm setting everything with my Ben Nye Banana Loose Powder. I'm in search for a new setting powder, so if you guys have any recommendations for dry skin but still keeping it comfortably matte, please let me know. The next item was my only Sephora sale purchase this year, Pat McGrath Divine Bronzer in the shade Bronze Dawn. Guys, I've been in search of a new bronzer for a long time. I only had like 1 or 2 bronzers left in my collection, and I wanted something that wasn't too deep or too harsh of a contrast, and especially for winter skin, I don't like anything that's too harsh. I like a really soft look. So I did a ton of research and I finally found this shade. It doesn't look that dark in the pan, especially in the flash of light, but as you can see, it's only a couple shades darker than my skin. It's a little bit on the warmer side, which I can definitely use for winter. My favorite bronzer of all time right now is the Patrick Ta Bronzer Duo in She's Bronze. So this is the shade. It's the most perfect bronze shade for olive skin tones. It doesn't pull too warm or too gray, and this is the Pat McGrath in comparison. I do tend to use the Patrick Ta one, and I got it in the summertime when I was a little bit more tan, but the Pat McGrath one is perfect for winter for me. That to me is a really perfect bronze right now. It's not too harsh, it's not too soft, it's just right, and it gives you a really beautiful definition compared to this side. It just warms up the skin in a really lovely way. I don't have to worry about going heavy-handed or being too careful with this because it's not too deep of a shade. Oh, and the formula. The formula is impeccable. The Patrick Ta Bronzer Duo as a whole is still my favorite bronzer of all time, but this Pat McGrath one is the smoothest bronzer formula I have ever tried. Look at that. There's like no patchiness, no nothing. It's so smooth and so filtered. If you're a beginner and you struggle with blending, you're gonna love this bronzer. I actually forgot to add cream bronzer to contour around my nose and my mouth, so I'm gonna do that right now because I really like that extra definition and I don't want the center of my face to look flat while the perimeters look beautifully bronzed. Going in with the Pat McGrath just to finish off that cream. Lately, just for an easy eye makeup, I take my bronzer all over my lid. Do you see how much definition and character that gives your face already? And you could just completely leave it at this. little bit underneath. The next item is a big mama of a purchase that I've been waiting for. It is the new Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Palette, and this is the Leopard palette. I ordered it straight from the Hourglass website, so I was able to customize it with their owl palette. I love a good, clean, white and beige aesthetic, so yeah, that's what it looks like. These tones are absolutely stunning for medium or medium olive skin tones. I especially love this Mood Exposure blush shade. This is actually the shade that pretty much sold me on the palette because I've been wanting this shade for a long time. As soon as I saw this in the palette, I knew I had to get it. I have one of the Luminous lighting powders in my pro kit and I have used it before, but I've never actually tried their blushes and I've never owned one of their palettes. So this is a really, really special, long-awaited item for me to have in my collection, and I've been loving using this. This is Mood Exposure. This one is Iridescent Rose, and this is Ethereal Flush. I do find that these two kind of end up looking very similar, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that. This is their highlight powder called the Celestial Strobe Light. This is their finishing powder in the shade Dim Light, and this is the bronzer in Lustrous Bronze Light. And the rumor is true, there's no powders like this that I've ever used. These are truly a really special formula. They're so soft. They give you a beautiful candlelit glow and they filter your skin. It really adds a real life filter. But enough talk, we're gonna go ahead and play with this now. So I'm actually gonna go over this bronzer with the bronzer shade from here. Do you guys see how smooth everything is compared to this side? I mean, the Pat McGrath bronzer is definitely smooth, but this gives you like an out of this world filtered skin effect. It's insane. I also really love the tone of this bronzer. It's still a little bit more of that neutral warm side, but I do love the amount of depth that it gives my medium olive skin tone. And this is the shade of the bronzer. It's got a pretty good depth. While I'm at it, I'm just gonna give you the other swatches. This is Mood Exposure, Iridescent Rose, Ethereal Flush, Dim Light, and this is the Celestial Strobe Light. Dim Light's a finishing powder, so it's kind of supposed to match my skin tone, so I'm okay with that depth. So I'm gonna use Mood Light for my blush. It's actually pretty pigmented. I've been using like a fluffier brush with this palette, but today I use the Morphe M523. It's just a little bit denser. I'm loving these blush shades with the purpley undertones. They are so pretty on olive skin tones. They just sort of brighten everything up. I find that the more peachy or nude you try to go on olive skin tones, the more it kind of makes you look dull. I don't know, it depends on the undertone, I guess, but I do find that the pinkier, plummier tones really brighten your skin up. And then I'm going in with the highlighter, try and find the area that's supposed to glow. Holy moly, that is blinding, but it's also incredibly smooth. I'm gonna brighten up the inner corners of the eyes and take a little bit on the cupid's bow and some under the brow bone. I'm actually gonna take the bronzer as well through my eyes. As always, I'm taking my blush in the crease as well. And then I'm gonna use the dim light here just to finish everything off. So this is gonna give you super blurred, super seamless look. So here's the side with the finishing powder. It definitely gives a bit more of a blurriness than this side. Let's go ahead and finish this off as well. What do you guys think? It gives the most pretty finish ever. This is such a special palette. If you've ever wanted to try the Hourglass powders, this is a really amazing way to get the most value, and you get to try all the different formulas in one palette, for a lot less than getting the individual ones. So as part of the Sephora birthday gifts this year, I was able to pick out this cute Patrick Ta set. This is his brow lamination gel, and this is the Major Glow Lip Shine in She's Expensive. I'm gonna be completely honest, I hated the Patrick Ta brow lamination gel. There are very limited products that work for my sparse thin eyebrows and holding them up in place, but I just found this one to be so uncomfortably crunchy, and it flaked no matter what I would do. If you put this on after your makeup, it's gonna flake, and it's gonna take all your makeup off with it and make it flake and make it look really bad. But then if you try to do it before your makeup, I guess you could do that, and I did, but it took a lot to hold my brows up, and the amount that it took, like, I could feel it stuck to my face like glue, and it was so uncomfortable. So I finally, actually today, found a method that works with this. I thought I would show you guys just because it's a new thing that I have, and you can let me know if you've tried it or not. And if you're thinking of getting it, you can get a little bit of insight into what it might be like. Go look at other reviews and other people's experiences. But if you've tried this brow lamination gel, if you could let me know what your experience was with it, I would be very curious to know. So for this routine, I actually go in with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. This is in the shade Brunette, and I like to use this to build up first. So actually on a normal day, I wouldn't have used that brow powder. So I really love the e.l.f. Wow Brow because it has the pigment and it just builds up volume in my brows so quickly. I mean, look at that difference already. So bear with me. My brows are a bit of a process. So yeah, let me finish working this through my brows and then I'll be right back. Oh, I love the e.l.f. Wow Brow because it gives me pretty good definition and hold just on its own. And then I like to go in with my NYX Lift and Snatch. This is in the shade Espresso. And I like to just draw in those individual hairs. Oh, I'm already nervous going in with this. So I take the flat side. So you can see that one side is flat and the other side has the bristles. So I like to use the flat side to deposit the product, and this does dry down very, very stiff. So once it's dried, you're not going to be able to work with it. So you better get in and get it done. So I use this to finick any stray brow hairs into place because my brow hairs are so freaking stubborn. They don't stay up. The only product I've been religiously using that works perfectly is the Bay Brow Brow Wax. I do have a brow tutorial with that one. I'll link it down below, and I'll also link their website. And if you want a 15% discount, I'll leave the code down below as well. So actually that did a really good job of defining my brows even more and just holding them up. Like comparing that to this one definitely has really much better definition. So I'm gonna go in and do the other side now. I used the lightest hand because anything else would make my brows and my makeup flake or make it feel too stiff, but that actually did a really good job. So I'm really happy that I found a way to make this work. At the end of the day, if you're paying high-end prices for a product that's supposed to be high-end, you shouldn't have so many issues with it. And granted, makeup works differently for every single person, so maybe it's just meant to be for a lot of different brow types. That's not my brows because so many things don't work on my brows, so I'm probably just the stubborn one. But anyway, I'm glad I got it to work and my brows look lovely and I'm really happy with it, and then I don't have to throw it out. And then I just like to go in with that same NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen and just do a little wing liner. I'm gonna do this off camera because my hands are shaking. So nothing crazy, I've just done a simple wing. I don't like using a full-on black liner, so this is like a really deep brown, the same as my eyebrow color. Lately for winter, I've just been doing a simple sort of quick wing liner, and that's it. For lashes is nothing special. I don't have anything that's mind-blowing. This is just the Maybelline Curl Bounce mascara. I would love this mascara more if it didn't smudge like crazy, but it builds up really nicely and it does give you a curl and it lifts and holds your lashes up. That's how much it built up, but within an hour or two, it's gonna smudge and transfer down right here. It's horrendous. I'm not gonna buy this again, but it's too bad because it's so pretty. For lips, I'm gonna go over with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner, which is my current favorite. I was truly surprised by how well the shade works for medium olive skin tones. Obviously, if you're a little bit on the lighter medium side, but it gives such a natural pinky nude undertone. And then I contour with the NYX lip liner in the shade Brown. And then my current favorite lipstick right now is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk medium shade. I have this cute little sample size. And last but not least, the Patrick Ta Major Glow Lip Shine. Really pretty, but not groundbreaking to me. My favorite lip gloss is the NYX Butter Gloss. I feel like that gives me the smoothest finish because I do have lined lips. So this is really pretty though, but I like my NYX one better. Alright, so that is the finished makeup look. Let me know what you guys thought about what you saw in this video today. And if you've tried any of these products and loved or hated them, please let me know down below. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!